Any update on Max? We know he left practice yesterday. Kind of where do things stand?
Yeah, he just a little tweak. Tweak is like hammy area, but he should be fine. He's getting treatment, so should be good to go. He'll rehab it and be ready to go for camp.
How do you get James Cook being here this week? Do you think that is a good phase, or is that just him not wanting to get back?
No, I think Jimbo, our interactions with Jimbo have been good the whole time throughout. I know he wasn't here, so everyone just draws their own conclusions. When you're talking about it's voluntary, we know that. We've had it before, even with players who weren't, lobbying for a new contract or anything like that. But he's a pro. He's a competitive dude. He loves to win. Yeah, of course he wants to take care of himself. Everyone does, and we love to see that, and we love to see it here as many times as we can. We know we have to fit things within the cap and the cash structure and all those things, but no, it's great to see him. And Monday, when I first saw him here, he came in for physicals and our goal meetings and stuff. But and then chatted with him a couple times. But no, it's good to see him, and he looks good out there. You can tell he's been working.
Are there any talks going on between the two sides?
Yeah, I'll keep that between us as far as that's going. But relationship's very good, and I know Jimbo's going to be ready to roll. When we get to Rochester.
Indicated that he will, in fact, be practicing once camp goes along.
I mean, everything as far as I can tell, yeah. I mean, you'd have to ask him on that. I mean, he hasn't said, hey, I won't be there if there's no deal or any kind of circumstances. So, no, I believe Jimbo will be ready to roll whether there's a deal or not.
Follow up on Harrison, your experience with rookie corners, besides the fact they have to cover better players, what is the biggest transition?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a lot of times the schemes in college are not as complex. So learning all what's asked in an NFL scheme, and definitely this scheme, we're, sometimes in college you just, hey, go play cat cover, just cover that dude and wherever he's at. Here, we're going to want you to play man, zone, press, off. We're going to let you, we're going to want you to do all that. We may blitz you. So it's just, it's a larger volume, and understanding that and being able to communicate, in the crowd noise, all that stuff. I don't know how much they're doing that at the college level. I'm not saying they're not. I think it's program to program, but yeah, it's just getting all that, getting comfortable so that, Max is a fast dude, but if you don't have all the coverages down and all the expectations down, you can't play as fast. So once he gets that, I think you'll see that speed that he's shown.
Are you confident that everybody who might have missed some time out here will be ready to go when training camp starts?
Knock on wood. Yes, I am.
How do you feel Joey Bosa specifically has progressed?
Yeah, Joey's done very well. I think it's this time of year, I know guys are missing, or some guys were doing individual, some guys were a little bit of team. It's really, this is about preparation, getting everybody ready for camp. And so if you're got any concern at all, why expose them? They're doing walkthroughs. They're out there with their teammates. I think yesterday Joey was doing a bunch of, his own kind of drill work as far as get-off drills, things like that a pass rusher would do. So, no, he's – of course, do you want him to have a setback? Do you want any of these guys? Do you want Max to tweak something yesterday? No. But it's football. It's going to happen. When we get to Rochester, it's going to happen, and that's why you got a 90-man roster to make sure the next man's up. And we stress that all the time. Just because you're not starting or just because you're not the second guy, you got to be ready to roll. You're going to get an opportunity, and the worst thing to do is not be prepared.
I was going to ask about Daquan specifically then. Is he nothing significant? You didn't see him out there today, Daquan Jones?
Yeah, it was a excused personal deal. Yeah.
Brandon, it could be about 17 or 18 of your starters. Sure, it could be your homegrown guys. How much has your philosophy changed over the years from when you got your best player available to now you can be more specific and fill those needs?
Yeah, I mean, you're always wanting the perfect formula is to draft, develop, sign those guys because you got them right when they came in. You know what they're coming from. You're growing them into your culture, your system, how you do things, your habits, everything that we look for in a Buffalo Bill versus, hey, you're getting them from another place. They may have, some things may be similar, some things may be totally different. And And so sometimes some guys are very malleable and they're like, hey, I'll go with the flow. And then sometimes they're like, man, I'm not used to this. I've been with Team X for 4 or 5 years. This is odd to me, and they struggle with it. So, it's great when you can continue to do that. And the other part of that is where we are from a financial standpoint of paying the guys we've paid. And when you got a franchise quarterback, you have to have as many draft picks playing some kind of role. They don't necessarily have to start, but on this 53 man, you want as many of those guys as you can if you're going to compete year in and year out. Paying a Josh Allen, paying, a Dion, 2 tackles, a Dion, a Spencer, the guys that we've paid on the D-line, Ed, Rousseau, et cetera.
Hey, Brandon, you used the 3rd-round pick last year on Dwayne Carter. Looked like he was ascending. He gets hurt, and then he's inactive in the postseason, which was tough for him, I'm sure. How do you see him fitting into that group up front?
I think Dwayne's come back with a purpose. I think he's really, the wrist is not bothering him anymore. He did come back last year, but, kind of like Keon was trying to work his way back. Hard to, these guys have to shock and shed and get off, and, easier for us to say to go do it than, if you're the guy that's actually coming off the procedure that he had. But he's been here a lot this offseason, and I think he's working hard. I'm sure he knows what he's got to do. And I always like Dwayne's versatility coming out. A lot of times we say this guy's a 1 tech or this guy's a 3 tech. Like, I think Dwayne gives you the versatility based on how your roster's fitting. Maybe he starts out and he's playing more 1, but if we have a couple injuries, I think we could move him over and play some 3 for us.
I feel like Keon did respond this offseason. He was very blunt with us yesterday in his self-assessment.
Yeah, I think Keon has been focused, dialed in. His agent and I have developed a good relationship. He's actually kin to Keon, and so I think he was very blunt with him as well, just off of some of our conversations. And Keon can take it. Like, for a young man, I give him a lot of credit. It's not easy. Of course, anybody can take praise. It's not easy to take criticism, and he took it unbelievable. The things that and that's the thing I tried to stress to him when he got back is. You did a lot of positive things. Don't focus on just the things that we want to see improve. And he's worked hard. He's been here the whole time. You can see when him and Josh were here that they're forming that rapport and kind of picking up where they were pre-injury last year. So I'm excited where he's at.
I know every job is up for competition. When you look at that backup quarterback spot, how much has Mike White kind of, ascended into what could be a position battle for that backup spot in the summer?
Yeah, I mean, you said it, Matt. We don't lock a lot of spots in here. Obviously, we know number 17's locked in, but every year you pretty much have to come in and earn your job, and I know Mitch knows that. He doesn't expect any different. I think Mitch came in last year. We had just brought him back from being here, the previous couple seasons. So he knows, hey, I've got to come out and show that I'm the right guy. Should something happen to Josh Allen, that I'm the guy. And Mike White has played a lot of meaningful snaps. We've seen it up close here. His time with the Jets, and signed a nice free agent deal in Miami before they made a decision last year at the 53 cut to, I think that was more of a financial decision. He was making pretty good money, and we put him on the practice squad and kind of thought maybe he'd get plucked at some point, but we were fortunate to keep him here and told him, listen, come back, compete, and let's make the best man win. That's our job, is for us to find the best 53 that we can. And so these guys will have all their opportunities, and Shane as well. Like, Shane obviously got hurt last year and had to go on IR, unfortunately, with a tough deal, but he'll get his opportunities too.
What did you see the team accomplish this week?
I think this week has just been an extension, Maddie, of what we'll be doing this whole offseason. We've had very good participation. Obviously, it helps you add a guy like Jimbo, who hasn't been here. It's good to see him, but I think it's just been a good deal that doesn't really change much as far as what they've been doing, and we've had such good participation. Kudos to our players and coaches and for what they've gotten accomplished, and kind of marrying up these rookies with the vets and getting everyone prepared for what needs to happen between now and when we show up, and then what that's going to look like once we show up to Rochester.
You mentioned
And how Keon has responded. What about Dalton Kincaid?
Yeah, I mean, Dalton, the same thing. He's been here the whole time, and again, Dalton was really more of an injury thing that he fought through, and nothing more than that. And like I said, I think I've said this to some people. I felt like maybe I even probably was a little bit overcritical. I wasn't trying to be. I just probably could have done a better job of saying that. Hey, just they're going to try and be physical. You're battling an injury. Let's try and armor yourself a little bit more. But he's been here. He has worked his tail off. He is one competitive dude. I know you guys. He's a quieter guy, but he's very competitive. He wants to do well, and I think he's had some good days out here, even when y'all haven't been here. But I think you guys have even seen it this week, and it's been fun to see him kind of get that confidence back.
He said it was a challenge early because he was still rehabbing the injury to get in the weight room. As he's kind of gotten to this point, has he kind of been able to ramp things up in there and maybe add some of the armor weight that you guys were looking for?
Yeah, he's definitely added strength and bulk, and we, Will and his staff do a great job of kind of measuring these guys with different things, whether it's force they're using in the weight room or just getting on the bod pod itself and seeing what their body composition looks like, body fat, muscle mass, all that good stuff. He's definitely in a stronger position. I don't have the metrics or anything I would put out there, but he's definitely in a stronger position than he was probably this time a year ago. So, yeah, excited for Dalton. And you can see the confidence in the knee and the body out there, as we went along, even from 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Logan, Joby, and Hoyt. Sorry.
You're the most patient guy ever. I respect that.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You watched 3 days of practice, right? They're in shorts, they're not in pads or anything. But are there any positions that you're especially excited to see how they play out when you do get to Rochester in a couple weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I mainly spend a lot of time on the skills because we try and make sure up front, the D-line's coming off, working their hands, just working their technique. O-line get hands on them, but we don't want them getting near the quarterback or falling all over each other. So most of my time is spent watching the skills right now. So, and again, when we start camp, we have to kind of ramp up in the same thing. So the first few days will look like this again. But once we get the pads on, it's definitely going to be a lot of time at O-line, D-line, those one-on-one pass rush. And then obviously when we're doing inside run periods and blitz periods, things like that, I'll be watching more of O-line, D-line versus the skills.
And Joby and Hoyt, you wanted to see as much as you could right now. Do you feel like you got what you wanted during these couple of sessions?
Yeah, I mean, I think those guys have been working hard. They've both been here the whole time, and we've discussed how we're going to map out, their August, what that will look like, and then they'll have a plan. We'll put our heads together and have an exact plan of what it looks like. I think the rule is they have to be out of there for a month, and then we can bring them back 2 weeks prior to, for those last 2 weeks. They won't be able to practice, but they can at least get back in the flow in the weight room, kind of get back in the flow of the daily routine here at One Bills Drive, which will be nice. And, the way the schedule works out, I think we play 6 and then we have a bye. It'll give them an extra week to kind of get themselves in as close to football shape as they can. You can't totally mimic games or practices, but I thought that was a little bit of, all right, that's not bad. I'm not a huge fan of an early bye, but that was one thing I was like, that worked out pretty good.
What can they do during the bye? Can they can be in-house and they
can do things on their own. There's certain rules, but they can be here and use our facilities. We can't have coaches on the field with them, things like that. It falls into some dead period rules. Now we can earlier in the week, but they have to have, I believe, a 4-day off period. At that point, they can still be in the facility, use our facilities. They just can't have a coach technically coaching them.
What went into joint practices with the Bears? What did you get out of that last year with the Steelers? And what do you always hope to accomplish during that time?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you want to see your guys against someone else because they kind of know if I'm a left tackle and I'm constantly blocking these couple ends, I know their moves. Like give them give him some different people to go against, some different schemes, some different defenses. You know, our guys start to know you practice so much even out here, and then you pick up at camp. So just you start to get in give them something new, and it kind of freshens things up as well. You know, you get tired of beating on the same people over and over, and that goes for both sides. So I thought last year the one-day camp, I really liked that because naturally somebody's going to get the better of someone on day one, and I've been in those where day two can be more of a distraction than productive. And so that's what our plan will be, to go there and have one legit practice with them. Very similar schedule to Pittsburgh.
Hey, Brandon, I know Cole didn't do much this week in terms of team, but what have you seen from him and how he's entered year two for the spring workouts?
Yeah, I think Cole's been very dialed in, very intentional. He's been here a lot, kind of like we talked about with Dalton and some of the other guys. And no, it's, you know, he had a little tweak, and we were just, again, being precautious. I think if it was regular season, he would have been able to fight through it. But he's been very intentional. He's doing well. I think he's made some plays out there. He just needs as many reps as he can. So hopefully once we get to St. John Fisher, no setbacks and have a full camp.